Welcome back to some professional StarCraft to a best of 5 from Into the Alpha X Super Series. Another match between two of the best, looking to show why they're so much better than the rest. First, perpetually the most whelming Zerg in Korea. Always near the top, but rarely quite there. How many times are we gonna... He's like the cure of being actually good. Sorry, Cure. Like and subscribe if you're sorry for Cure. Of course, it's Solar. From, I want to say it's pronounced Kaizi Gaming. Kaizi? Kaizi? Kaizi. I'm gonna go with Kaizi. Until proven otherwise. And then, of course... in the top right, the man with a plan. Unless he needs to leave in like 10 minutes and then it all goes out the window. One of the most stoic, dramatic, exciting, and confusing players in StarCraft 2. Dragon Phoenix Gaming's Zest. Oh my god, Zest. Jimmy! Zest. Which Zest is showing up today? Which Zest has a date with your mother in 20 minutes? Does he have his power hoodie? Does he have his jacket on, his jacket off? All important questions for many important reasons. We will find out. Or at least we will judge. And what do you mean? Yes. This expression is one of Zest's... about half of his expressions. The other one is slightly bemused. We don't have an image of that because it happens so rarely. Oh, Jimmy, come on. Like, well, there's nothing happening. We got time. I'm sorry, that wasn't the correct image. Slightly bemused. I apologize. I didn't know we had an image ready. But I want to make sure the people are filled in. Adept shades across. Zerg versus Protoss. Jagannatha. We've been here before. We'll be here again. Stargate to start. Will there be a big follow-up? Zest, one of the largest Void Ray enthusiasts out there, leading the trend, the tip of the spear, if you would, on the Void Ray openers. We don't really see the 6 Void Rays as much as we did maybe 6 months ago. Honestly, not much has changed besides Zerg players getting more comfortable with the knitting crew, the Queen Walk. The Queen Walk. Oh wow, four drones dying to 2 Adepts. Kind of unacceptable amounts of damage, and the Adepts get out. Zest has not lost anything, playing a perfect game thus far. Gonna take out an Overlord as well. Zerglings finish speed far too late. The Adepts will not be chased down. They'll just kind of casually get back exactly when they need to. Behind it, 3 more gates, including the wall, Twilight Council. That should be out of vision. And so far, Solar's in an awkward spot. Like, you're on tenuous footing as a Zerg in the early game against Protoss and against Terran. And against Zerg, yes, but Zergs are Zergs. I say with great wisdom. Wow, builds an Overlord and gets it shut down. You're really trying to maximize your drone count while minimizing units. But if you lose a few, and remember, one of the most important resources that a lot of players don't think about is larva. You just, especially before those queens come together, you just don't have that much larva to work with. So you don't want to be making more lings than you need. And you want to spend that larva as quick as possible because it doesn't regenerate, at least the basic hatchery larva, until later on. Until you spend that larva you have. So, losing some drones early is not just the minerals and the potential income, but some of that larva that could have been used for units later on. Well, The Adept showing up. Zest has killed 10 Lings, 4 drones, a couple creep tumors, and an Overlord, and he has lost nothing. A couple Queens coming up. And in fact, I don't think he's taken any hull damage or any health damage on any units. I mean, it's not that much so far, but it's getting a little out of hand. There's a very real chance this ends in a perfect game. Zest has done it before. No losses. He's got mass Adept. Solar's building drones. There's a lot of Lings. Are there enough? And with the Queens, I think some of the Adepts will die. But at least one. First blood. Second blood. But the problem is, without any roaches here, using that stasis, he forces the Queens to retarget. The Adepts will shade away to a nearly undefended base. Queen slaughtered. Another half a dozen drones gonna go down. Adepts having the run of the place. Solar down to 46 drones and plummeting. Back into the main. The Lings are not there to respond. Solar was not ready. He's been off balance since the beginning. 11, 12, 13. I'm great at counting. And wow. Okay, come on. Come on with that recall. 4 Adepts, most of which have like half HP. Was that necessary? No. Was it insult to injury? Grievous injury? Yes. Yes. Sure, you can make an argument he really needed those 4 Adepts. But did he, though? Like, was it really that important? But if you can, then maybe you should. So Solar has to sit back. Like, this is uncomfortable. Zest now chrono boosting. I love his production setup, by the way. One of many things I love. But what I want you, Diamond, like Gold through Diamond League Protoss, take notes right now. Pause, or at least like slow it down. Look at the main. Walls off against like Zergling run-bys. Can still add more gateways if needed. Has vision. At the natural, the most defensible location, Robo Twilight Forge. The third, setting up pylons to be able to wall off with a shield battery tucked in. There's your template. I want to see this, otherwise I'm turning off your replays you paid me for on Angry Coach. That Twilight placement, are you saying that's blocking the gas? No, it's not. Maybe 5%, but all of this is as protected as you can possibly get. This is how you do it. Even me, even myself, perfect and amazing and easily could beat these players if I actually tried to play. You know, I'm just a little busy casting, yeah, whatever. Even I struggle with remembering where to put my buildings. Just having a template, especially as Protoss and Terran, is important. And Zest is showing that off here. He's been untouched. He's lost 8 Adepts. He's lost 8 Adepts, and they were traded for dozens of drones, Lings, several Queens. Solar has just kind of sat back and built up, and I think that was the right call, because there was no way he was going to be able to attack into Zest, so now he has to rely on Zest trying to kill him. And if Zest makes a mistake, I know, it seems we've got Hoodie Zest right now on the field. But if Zest does make a mistake, he walks up the wrong ramp or gets flanked by a particularly dramatic amount of units, he definitely could lose. This is just a gateway unit army. So it is vulnerable to Ling Ravager. It is vulnerable potentially to Banelings. So he's being careful with it. It's a surgical army that can dictate the pace of the battle and the field of the engagement. But if you step too far with Blink Stalker Sentry, like that is not, it's not a brawler unit composition. Ravager Ling Bane is for brawling. It's for punching down your force fields and rolling the Banelings up in your grill. And right now, here comes Solar. He's taking the initiative. He's pushing across the map. He's got 4 bases. His macro's been incredible. Force field's good. Knocking down the fields. Once again, 3 Immortals on the back line. A few more Banelings trickling through. The force fields come back up, trying to hold the line. Zest stands his ground. He still has the Immortals into the prism, juggling back. Corrosive Biles land on a sentry. Oracle adding damage. Zest arcs in, blugs on, knocks out, finds the win. and crushes the army. Solar tried to bash through, but Zest had control of the situation the whole time. Wow, what is with these recalls, Zest? Are you kidding me? A Zealot counterattack undercut the momentum, and Zest segmented with surgical precision, sliced and diced that army into bite-sized pieces and chewed them with his mouth closed because he's polite and a educated, aristocratic individual. I mean, come on, look at that jawline. So, with all that said, Solar coming in for another round with less units. Zest did lose a lot of sentries, so he doesn't have the ability to fully control the battle like he did the last time. But the Blink Stalker's eating a few Baneling hits and then blinking back before falling. Okay, this is getting a little sad. All right, Solar. Yeah. This would be fine if it weren't for the Zealots cutting off reinforcements. Disruptor shot flying through drives this back. The Zealots cutting through Zerglings. Queen assassinated. Drones vulnerable. Zest doesn't have a fourth, but Solar is losing drones. A lot of drones, actually. He's looking the other way during all this. The Zealots using the mineral wall, holding their ground, and this should give Zest the opportunity to move back out on the map. Look at the supply. Wow, those Zealots. The cost efficiency this game from Zest. He's lost 3 times less. The gas is a little comparable. But 15k to 6k resources lost. About as good as you're going to get with these unit compositions. Clips one Ravager, blunks on another. The third one just gives up. Zealots cutting through. +2 attack done for those side blades. Charge, of course. Carriers on the way. Zest reaches out and grabs a fourth. Solar is still scrambling. Solar's had 5 hatcheries, but he hasn't really had the income for it. The Oracle is still alive, and there's no the Queen's another Queen. Oh my. The Oracle has lived through all of this and continues to be a massive energy flying thorn. Double disruptor shot. 1, 2. Slams into the army. Carriers have arrived. Point blank. Holds the line. Blocks on top. Carriers clear the field. And Zest with a dominant performance in game 1. Well, if I didn't cast these games in order, I'd take a cold shower right now. But ain't nobody got time for that. We're going to have to go back to the spawning pool for Solar and find a new strategy. We will see. Zest looking like a Zest to beat. Now, sometimes it feels like Zest just decides to stop using his keyboard in series. Like, I'm afraid. He's got to get 3. Solar is not a pushover. That was that was an amazing game. Like, straight up, my Zest fangirling beside? Not with side, definitely not that. Somewhere on there, but you get it. B-sides. Or a side. Yes. There were a lot of options. I just picked the wrong one. That was essentially how you do it. He blocked the natural, which opened him up to doing damage with the Adepts and the Oracle. He managed those well enough to keep Solar off balance until a follow-up Glaives attack, which secured his third. And then the follow-up Glaives attack kept Solar busy until he got a solid army. And he went for the solid ground army. He didn't try to go back into Stargate. He went with Blink. And Blink is for people like Zest and Parton, okay? I want to make this clear, because I did say, all you Gold Leaguers, Blink is for people like Zest who are using Blink Stalkers to soak shield damage from Banelings and then blinking back behind the force fields. Not for people who flew their Oracle into Queens about 3 minutes ago because they hit the Select All Army hotkey at the wrong time 4 times in a row. Just pointing that one out. He didn't try to take 4th too early. That's another thing. He recognized it was a very larva-heavy unit composition. It's Lings, Banes, and Ravagers. So what you need is a critical mass of units to make sure they can't run you over. If you try to take a fourth too early in that scenario, or you try to tech up too fast, then you can find yourself without enough boots on the ground, or whatever the hell stalkers have. Probably high heels. Stilettos. Something like that. So, I mean, I don't know what he could have done much better. I thought the Adepts might end the game themselves. Solar handled it well enough. Honestly, credit to Solar for putting together an army that even looked like it could have a chance. Because it is a super uncomfortable scenario to lose dozens of drones to Adepts early. And then try to bounce back into 200 supply. We will see. Things open up the same on Beckett Industries. We got Stargate. We got the hatch blocked because we all know that as a Zerg, you're allowed to take your third or their natural. Those are your first. That's the first base you're allowed to expand to. There are rare exceptions, but that's about it. Void Ray first. Beckett Industries is a lot smaller, a lot more cramped than the long map we saw of Jagannath. So, that means Queen Walks are definitely knitting crew conventions, Queen Walks, the German taxi build occasionally, though that's not really necessary. I don't think we'll see a heavy Stargate play this game either. At least not as a follow-up in the early game. But the difference here is Zest just goes, wow, is he gonna... He's using the Void Ray to just take a third. He's just grabbing. I mean, he'll probably get away with it. But 4 minutes with a Void Ray and an Oracle and 2 Warp Gates. He's using the fact that if Solar wants to cancel this... Oh, wow. So... subverting expectations. Zest with +1 air weapons on the way. That wasn't... There's no way that was to, like, bait Solar into scouting it, right? Because he can see the Cybercore upgrading after Warp Gates are done, so there's only one reason it would do that. He's gonna build... It looks like Zest is going to go into the heavy Stargate strat. Yeah. He's adding another Void Ray. +1 air is not for show here, it doesn't seem. Wow, that Adept... might not be enough. Oracle comes back. Gonna help. Solar backs off at the Lings. Losing the pylon is annoying. More queens on the way for Solar. He's up to 6 queens so far. And, yep. Alright, well there's the commit. The second Stargate is on the way. A Forge as well. No Twilight. I do love the way he sets up his buildings. Already preemptively. It looks like Solar gonna go with the Zerglings countering Void Rays strategy. Which is it, I mean, more like circumventing Void Rays, but it's gonna be a Queen Walk. The Queens are gonna saunter across the map. Not again! Yes, again. This is the meta now. Bring your Crocs! I left them in the hatchery! Not again, Susan! God damn it! Well, honestly, not far from the third to the third here. About 20-30 seconds on the Queens as they join up. Zest doesn't really have that much here. Now we're kind of showing why you don't go Stargate on this map. It's because the Queens walk outside their house, step across the street, and start knocking on your door. Shield battery overcharge gonna help, but that's a lot of energy. Corrosive bile starts chunking through the cannons here. There's just not that much on the ground. Void Ray is forced to pull back. Shield battery overcharge is gone. The Queen's starting to run out of energy, but so are the shield batteries, and there's not that much more to defend. Every Void Ray important here. Zest saves that last Void Ray at the last second. But is there enough to deal with this? The Void Ray is actually coming too far forward. Going to eat a lot of extra damage. Solar just kind of smothering this base right now. Yeah, well, so Zest kind of choosing he chose the Stargate build on possibly the worst map to open Stargate, which, I mean, I'd imagine that was intentional. He knows, obviously, what map he's on, and possibly was expecting to get away with it. If it weren't for these meddling queens. The Void Ray count is pretty high, but losing the third is all but the end. Well, I didn't really look at the drone count. If somehow Zest actually cleans this up, he's got a good shot. The worker count, like, Zest needs to hold the natural, obviously. At that point, you just don't have enough mining. But the Ravagers, the Queens are doing enough damage. Not a hard wall here, so Zerglings can slip through, but Zergling's not a huge part of this. Some corrosive biles starting to break down the buildings. Pylons is well targeted. There's still some just shotgunning them out right now. Shield battery overcharge used. Zest forced to micro constantly. He's got carriers on the way, which is optimistic. Big corrosive biles looking for the battery and cannons, maybe even clipping some void rays. The Queens are still showing up. It's a slow-moving push, but it's moving fast enough. More biles coming through, trying to target down Ravagers, but the defenses are breached, and the Zerg are coming. There's nowhere else to retreat. The Queens have kept the Void Rays busy in the corrosive biles. Those carriers are a little late to the party, and they're not the cheapest unit to maintain. The Queens are knocking down the interceptors. They've had enough! Get off my lawn! And yes, in this map, technically, you could argue that all of it is your lawn. Zest is now building carriers on one base. He has 4 mineral patches. It's not good. It's what some might call bad. And I would also be one of them. This is very bad. Zest is super dead. There's a... Was this all without a lair? This was a hatch tech push. Zest has carriers over here, which is like bringing a Gucci watch to a gunfight. At least that way you can tell it's time to leave the game. Does Gucci make watches? I bet Loco knows. Okay, where are you going? The carriers are cutting off the Zergling reinforcements. This is optimistic. Corrosive biles. Well, eventually they will get up. He's corrosive biling his own Ravager eggs. Can Zest hold the ramp? The interceptors are gone. The Void Rays constantly have to dance in and out. Oh my god. Ah! Ladies! We are here for the after party! Why are we German? I don't know. Alright. Brendalina has joined the party. The next generation of queens. And also there are Hydras on the way. The queens will walk. Speed walking through the Wla. The carrier in one of the more awkward exchanges here, we have Void Rays. We have Queens chasing down carriers, which are marginally faster than Queens off of creep. As the probes long distance mine to afford to intercept it. Yeah, that's it. Alright, it's over. That's enough of that. Let's move on. All tied up. A questionable choice to go Stargate on a map that there's such an obvious and in-your-face counter. Like a counter meta pick on that strategy. And as Protoss in a best of 5, you do want to throw out alternative strats. You got to pull from your deck of Protoss, and hopefully you come up with a trap card or something like that. But it does cost Zest a potential 2-0, and it does bring us into Game 3 of this Into the Clan Alpha X. Let me make sure, they have so many tournaments, I want to make sure I get the right name here as we go in the light shade. There's so many. Wait, there's the Alpha X Team League. Well, we'll get right on. Alpha X Series Special. There's like... What? You might be like, well, Winter, how could it be that confusing? Alright, well, you tell me which Team Alpha X awesome supporting StarCraft event it is then. Okay? Alright. You want spoilers? Go find them. I think... you know what? Team Alpha X and Into the Clan, alright? No cannons? Wait, Zest? Yeah, Zest did block the natural, of course. I think that does come down to Zest. Like, that was an active choice to go Stargate. It does feel a lot like he was depending on Solar not doing a Queen push. Even though Queen push is the most obvious and common counter, and it is the best map for it because of the cramped distances. So that was like the other Zest who's like, I actually do not care at all. Take your meta, and I have no strong opinions because you're not worth my time. It's a Stargate. The probe steals some valuable minerals and comes home with all that information. We're going to open things up very similar. We'll have to see if it's a Void Ray or an Oracle. Yes. Or a Phoenix if he wants to be spicy and also somewhat inefficient. I doubt a Phoenix, but... The thing is, like, when Void Rays got a discount, they build faster. Void Rays are kind of, they're just mostly better than Phoenixes at the same things, for comparable cost. Before, when they cost 50 minerals more, and they took about 5-6 seconds longer to build, the Void Rays had a niche as, like, your later game. Either you build one in the early game, or they're like a later game army composition. Now they're just almost as good as Phoenix is at everything except, like, killing mutas. And Phoenixes counter Void Rays pretty well. Phoenix first. I'm sorry. I apologize. Void Ray first, of course. And then an Oracle. So it's looking very much like the previous build. He's adding on another 2 gases. Ooh, does he add +1 air? He's... Okay, Zest. I don't want to be this guy, but I do want to point out that this was the build that lost. Not the build that won. It is a little better map, but Lightshade is like the second shortest rush distance. So I guess we're just doing a... maybe Solar won't do another Queen push. Zest is not changing the build at all. Like, the second Stargate, the Forge, he's not building any additional gates. He's like, it's the same build. It just didn't work. I don't think there's anything Zest could have done against a concerted queen push on Beckett. Like, he built the cannons about as quick as he could. Cannons are not a great... Well, oh, whoa. Wow. Whoa. It's not the same thing from Solar. There's a lair. Did Zest see the lair? He didn't see the lair. Go look for the lair. He's looking for the lair. He sees the lair. Okay. So, last game, it was a no-lair push. It was a hatch-tech queen walk, which means Zest is gonna get away with this. Solar's already at 63 drones at 5.5 minutes and counting. He has no intentions of walking across the map. So now we get to see, for better or worse, how this ends. Like, what is the follow-up? Solar adds a spire. Alright. I mean, he has to know this is going to be... Is this going to be a Sky Zerg army composition? He's already got so much gas. Zest had to have seen the gas. Like, you're not mining. He's got to know. Even if you don't see the spire. Smells like Mutas. Will he start Phoenixes? I don't think he needs him. He starts a third Stargate. Void Rays aren't terrible. Void Rays aren't terrible against Mutas in a high enough number. Like, at this point, it's becoming pretty obvious by the lack of anything else, by the lack of a bunch of queens walking across the map, by the lack of any units except a handful of Zerglings. Zest has to have that on his mind. Third Stargate, Fleet Bacon. And in fact, will it be for carriers, mothership, flux, veins? Oh, well, Solar also knows here. Carriers on the way. Everybody, we're just speed running. We're speed running into carriers. Solar is going straight for corruptors, flux veins, and carriers. That void ray speed. Okay. It's about as close as you're gonna get to no rush 10 minutes. Zest has not lost a unit yet. That's Solar's changeling zealot. Wait a sec. My knife for ire. Why do we have zealots? Zest hasn't even lost a probe. Oh, almost lost the Oracle earlier, but... The Corruptors, and now the Queens are marching, but this time with the Corruptors overhead. Lucille, where are you? I'm injecting. Yeah, still, this is the Queen's support push here. The Corruptors with Queens to pat them on the back and tell them they did a good job when they almost die outright to the Skytoss army. Looks like just spreading the creep for now, as Solar realizing that it was a bit optimistic to think he could outright kill Zest. Well, hunting the carriers. No, that's too many Void Rays. And they have Flux Veins. He could charge up the Void Rays to deal with the Corruptors. Of course, that loses the speed boost. But really, like, just charging up 3 or 4 of the Void Rays would help discourage. You almost never see someone stagger the prismatic alignments. It's all or nothing. Well, now we're getting the rest of the tech tree here, which is, for Solar, Vipers, Pathogen Glands, +2 melee, Adrenal Glands, Greater Spire, +1 Carapace, and for Zest, it's a Twilight Council, more Void Rays, a Sentry for Guardian Shield, +1 ground weapons, and more gateways. Zest has now lost a unit. It was an Interceptor. The beginning of the end, mayhaps? It's unclear. Oh, there's no shield battery protecting this. Zest's gonna remedy that now. The Void Rays will move to defend the valuable Cyber Core, upgrading +2 air weapons. Infestor is on the way, so it looks like Vipers going to work. That Oracle's still alive. The Queen can... Why? Susan! Where's the damn creep? It reminds us who we are. The Queen's struggling with the only spot on the map that there isn't creep, at least on this side. The Void Ray count, 14, and a mothership is in production as Zest has now, like... This is like the army you build in the unit tester. Zest has been allowed to build essentially whatever he wanted. I mean, it's not like Solar's had much trouble either. So, 10 minutes in, almost nothing lost. Zest has lost 1 interceptor per 10 minutes so far, which is a pretty decent rate. Shield battery doesn't pop the overcharge. Reshields. +3 air. We've got Ultralisk Cavern. We're playing a real chess match here. Do we have Neural Parasite? Solar, do we have Neural Parasite? He's looking around his buildings. He'll get there. He'll get there. I trust him. Solar! Do you want a mothership or not? He does not yet have Neural Parasite. One of the probably, like, you gotta have, it's not that expensive. You gotta have it. You won't always, like, you can't really force it. If you try too hard to use Neural Parasite, you're just gonna lose all your infestors. But at the same time, like, if you get an opportunity to neural half the army, then you can just win the game. Zest is very diligent with his oracles. He still has the oracle. Oh my god. Like, this is like fastest map. I got us. Oh! Well, Gold Leaguers rejoice! We're 12 minutes in, and Zest has lost 1 interceptor, 1 probe, and 2 zealots. His loss is escalating precipitously. Oh, as he annexes his 5th base. We've now got +3 air coming up, robotics bay. What don't we have? Let's just start listing that. We need like the Age of Empires tech tree where you just have things you just cross stuff off. So I think we don't have a dark shrine. Is there charge? There is charge. No blink, no air armor or shield upgrades. Our lives for ire, right, boys? I mean, what do you? He's gonna storm the changelings, right? Yeah, how you doing, bro? Ah! Ah! Oh my, that scared me. I said it, and it still scared me. Fuck out of here. Okay. Well, watch out, watch out. Well, Oracle didn't have a... This is a little awkward. Oh, feedbacks, though, bait the Vipers, and he gets an Oracle and a Observer, but the feedbacks on the Vipers are just... It's very hard to avoid. It seems like a troll strategy, but at this point, almost everything does. Because the best way players have found is to build so many Overseers that the Templar can't feedback the Vipers when the Overseers are stacked on top of them, because it's super hard to actually click the Vipers. Because everything has an energy bar. So you just gotta, like, stack everything together and hope you don't get stormed. You see, that's the problem. We now have 10 more cannons. The CPM continues to raise. 21 cannons going on 31. Ultras, Banelings, Warp Prism speed, +3 flyer, just +3 everything. Baneling speed, half the map. There's only been like, there have been, okay, for reference, there's been 30-something thousand minerals mined and 12,000 gas. 600, 200, 3,500, 300 lost. Right now, the values of the armies are over 13,000 resources. Well, 5,000 gas, 64, and 8,100. They're building all of the upgrades. Just all of them. They're literally just checking off the boxes now. DT Blink, there it is. Before I could even mention it. Do we have Normie Blink? We do not, because Stalkers suck, and Zest knows that. What about Neural Parasite? Solar, you're getting like everything in spinning rims for your banelings, but he doesn't have neural parasite, which is like a huge deal. That is a big, like, if you're getting +3 flyer attack, you rich Zerg, then, like, and you're saying you can't splurge for neural parasite? Oh my god. Well, if that storm, well, the Templar gets 2 storms. Somewhat inefficient there, but like, ah! The carriers get caught, but the Viper... Oh, did he get him? Did he hit an Overseer? Oh my... How does he do it? I mean, he hit 2 Vipers. And that's it. 2 feedbacks, 2 Vipers. More Overseers. Okay, we need more Overseers. His special eyes. The lack of neural parasite is actually a little glaring here as we get the rest of the upgrades. The thing is, in that fight, they still barely lost anything. Well, the banelings were lost. But there was feedback, there was like an observer killed, and then the banelings. But as for the actual air compositions, spore crawlers building up. The vanguard of cannons. Like, observers being taken. I'm surprised we don't see more oracles. Moracles, if you would. How many are out there? 0. Yeah, I'm surprised we don't see more than 0. 2 or 3 would definitely have some value here. Zest has 3 observers. He's building 2 more. Does he have observer speed? Yes. Changelings. The sentry finishes off the last one. So, the unit compositions. We got Carrier, Void Ray, Templar with a single sentry, which is actually the highest value unit in the game and the amount of damage it can reduce. Maybe besides the Ghost. The probes, you see, it's a matter of principle. You could just kill your probes with your cannons. Like, but no one ever does. Also, surprise, Void Ray's in the main going for the hive? Really? Zest is making big moves, surprisingly. No one ever just kills the probes with the cannons. They always send them out. Like, wouldn't it be easier to just kill them yourself so you could already be building more units? No. A sacrifice for the altar of victory. Though Zest also sacrificed, like, that was... He's been playing incredibly well and super efficient, and then he just loses 7 Void Rays, not even killing the hive. So, like... Uh-oh. This is a different Zest than we just saw for 15 minutes. I mean, 6 Stargate Command is coming. 6 more Stargates. That'll bring him up to 9 Stargates. He just built a bunch of Blink DTs. He doesn't even care. Let the boy watch. Like, Zest has just flipped the switch, and he's ready to fight now. He's going for hatcheries. And going for hatcheries means he's gonna try to win, by the way. Oh, he recalls the Archons! What an escape! Are they now stuck in between his cannons? Ah, the shield battery! Guys, get on the same page! They're House Archons now. No! Let us out! Everybody, like, each hand doesn't know what the other hand is saying. Here come the Banelings, which are pretty efficient at breaking through. The shield battery's down. The house... Wishing there were House Archons now. The Ultralisk just chops through the rest of the defenses. The Cracklings here. Not enough to take down the +1 shield's base. So, working around the edges are both sides. There's still the center-ish bases, like the inner sides. And those will be the final contest, it looks like. As we've just kind of, so far, mined 40-something thousand and 20k gas apiece, while losing a tiny fraction of that. So this game could end at any time if either side takes a particularly bad fight, or it could be 50 minutes. Like, we're not sure where we're gonna land on this one yet. Because they haven't actually fought each other yet. This is quite an armada. That Overseer awkwardly sees it. The worker counts are down to 53 and 62. He's taking the rocks. Maybe not to take the rocks, but... Wait, okay. I thought he was gonna, like, use those interceptors, but... Okay. He's only lost 6 interceptors. 10 observers. It's about sending a message, okay? No, don't just kill him. I am so rich! Kill my probes! What am I watching? Why are there broodlings already? He's killing his own changelings to activate his broodlords. Anyways, oh wow, that's a lot of interceptors. Alright, time warp is an interesting... I mean, remember that exists. Neural parasite still does not exist, which could be a long-term issue. A storm prism, which Zest is so good at. The bases are mining out. Oh yeah, there's still some queens over here with full energy for like the last 15 minutes. But they're not fighting each other. Are not, like, it's gone from like, does anyone try to win to do we actually... Solar's taking the inner base here. Zest has not made any overtures. He doesn't have that much static defense here. There's a few Templar. I have no idea where the prism is. Is the prism in there? Does anybody see a... I don't see a prism. Am I blind? There's a prism somewhere. With a bunch of Templar in it. Where is it? Apparently it's on my... Oh, what? What is this? What is this tag team? This is a weird buddy cop movie. She was a mothership. He was a warp prism with 4 Templar inside him. It was weird. High energy. I don't know. I was gonna come up with something. We call it Total Recall. A Templar story. So that was a big recall. The army on the other side grabbed by the mothership grabbed by the Vipers, the mothership killed, and now vengeance will be visited upon the Zerg. There are some broodlords, probably too many broodlords actually, which is kind of a weird place to be. Great Fungal's getting so many interceptors. Huge parasitic bomb, wombo combo, damage across all the carriers, but he ran out of energy. Underneath, the infestor's still going to work. The carriers are not dying. The Templar are still chilling in the warp prism. Solar's just losing. Like, where are the storms? Well, okay, I guess Zest wins. All right. So, it looked like Solar had a line of defenses across the board. He had the unit composition. He set everything up, used all his spellcasters, and then he just died. So, that's how that ends. With a fraction of the money in the bank being lost, or at least the gas. Well, that brings us to 2-1. A bit of a rough one there for Mr. Solar. Oh, that was a lot of time to end like that. But, well, with all that said, and Zest bringing us to the 2-1, it's time for a quick advertisement. Thank you guys for watching. No, Jimmy, not yet! I'll be right back. Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Winter and I'm here to tell you all about Prime Gaming. If you're liking the usage of all the overlords in these matches, well then make sure to give a shout out to our corporate overlords, because Amazon has something called Amazon Prime. And if you don't know what Amazon Prime is, then fuck you. But if you do, you can use your Amazon Prime to connect it with Twitch and get Prime Gaming. And even if, because I stream like a vampire, I mean, look at this complexion. Even if you can't watch live and you get confused by what a rerun is, well, if you're entertained, does it even matter? So, with Prime Gaming, every month for free, you can subscribe to a streamer of your choice. Even me. So subscribe right here, right now, twitch.tv/wintergaming. Pause the video, because every moment you don't, you're losing money for me. So subscribe with Prime Gaming, because remember, at Amazon Prime, we know where you live. But wait, there's more! Also, every day on YouTube, you can find new videos. You can find new things to complain about that are very much like the old ones. Occasionally a video that isn't StarCraft related, and then make sure to leave a comment and complain about it so people will actually watch. But otherwise, check out a new video every day on youtube.com/WinterStarcraft. Like and subscribe. Thank you. Good luck and good night. Thank you guys for sticking around. We're going back to match point of Zest versus Solar from the Into the Clan and Alpha X Super Series. Best of 5. So, Zest and Solar just spent 20 minutes building up these amazing, fully upgraded armies. Infestors, +3, carriers, mothership. So then Zest attacked. And Solar lost. And now we're here. $2,000 atmospheres. So far, at least the first few minutes of every game played out the same. Zest did find more success. And I think Solar reaffirmed the reason why we do the Queen Walk builds as Zerg. Because otherwise, you fight 200 supply of Carrier Void Ray Mothership with Templar, and it's not easy. It's not a super. It's a fine line. And it can be quite a frustrating one. I'm never a fan of the answer being kill them before they get X unit or composition or something. But it does seem to be the prevailing strategy to actually deal with the Skytoss army. Is he going to make a Stargate? Is he going to not make a Stargate? That'd be more interesting. Show us your secrets. It is a Stargate. Okay. Who would have thought? Meanwhile, Solar pulled out of gas after getting his Zergling speed. Looking pretty standard so far. He gets to take his natural as his third, which is par for the course. And building up some queens. I'd like to see the ground toss build again. I like that. That was an impressive game. The last couple games, the Sky Toss games are, it doesn't feel as dynamic, I guess, is the way to put it. It feels a lot of like if the Protoss survives, as we already went over, or the Zerg is able to get the damage done. Occasionally, you'll find like that super late. You know what I've seen is the way to actually press in the late game. The Ultras, Lings, and Banes are okay. Not Broodlords, but instead Lurkers are oftentimes the choice. That can force a position, or, well, they can essentially siege a position and can be covered by Queens and the Air Force. Of course, Lurkers take different upgrades and a different setup than do Corruptor Broodlord, and aren't nearly as good at directly fighting the Skytoss army, of course. And I've seen a lot of different attempts outside of the Queen Walks. But I think the most overall successful is pushing and forcing the issue with Lurkers and then grinding the Skytoss down. But it isn't easy, and it isn't clean, and you will lose a lot in the process. You just hope they lose as much or more. +1 air weapons is on the way again. Zest. Well, that's Stargate number 2. Here we are. Void Ray and Oracle are the first choices. That much is standard. Oh, watch out! Ah! Solar. Okay. Okay, so apparently this can happen. Oh, I know what happened. The projectile that killed the Oracle was in the air as the Queens got frozen. So this is, I think, a net point. Screw you guys. Unfortunately, the Void Ray just not that great at killing drones. And away we go. Solar, with 8 roaches on the way and 0 layers. He put 2 gases at his third. I think he's trying to bait Zest here into thinking it's going to be another like mid-late game play. Those 2 gases at the third, it's like, I'm going Spire again. No, he's not going Spire. No. Revenge! Brenda, could you calm down? We still have 15 seconds before we get back. Revenge! For last game, the Queen Memorial March, where all the queens lost, and well, Zest might just die. Yeah, Zest has no shield back. He's super dead. He did not. He really convinced himself it wasn't this. It is this. +1 may finish. Yeah, the Zest doesn't have nearly enough. He was not building up to defend this. He's dead. It might take a bit, but no, it doesn't. Yeah, he's super dead. Well. Alright then. And we're all tied up. I think the gases really convinced Zest. Like, last game, Solar sold him on it. Like, last game when he went for the late game, in the first Queen Walk build, he didn't go for the gases nearly as early, at least at that base that I noticed. Maybe I'm wrong, but Zest looked at it, he's like, it's the same as last time. Well, it wasn't the same as last time. That's not what the same as last time looks like. He's very dead now. So, 2-2. The probe dodging the bubulas. Here on Blackburn, which will conclude the series one way or another. Yeah, nice. We wrapped a bow on that game pretty quick. That was one of the cleanest just walk over and claim victory. Zest didn't even really lose any units. He's just like, yeah. Bit of an oversight. We are on I would say this is a better Skytoss map than most of the ones we've had thus far. a lot easier to just cut the map in half. You could potentially take the gold base early as well. And as you expand away from your opponent with minimal air distance between mains. We're going to open up the same way every single game. It looks like it's going to be taking the third with a gas pool for solar, and then a gate expand into Stargate for Zest. The only variety was game 1 with the Adept follow-up as opposed to the Stargate following Stargate follow-up. Zest. Wait a second, he doesn't have much gas. It could actually be a Twilight build. A robotics. Uh-huh. Here we are. This does not preclude aggression. In fact, that's the quickest way to get a prism. I've seen a handful. I know there are options. It's definitely different. We'll see what he uses it for. I'm withholding my analysis of it, such as it is, because I see it so rarely. Zest has shown 4 Stargates and 1 Robo, so that is still a pretty high ratio for Robos in this matchup. Oh my god. What Zest is like game 5, everything on the line. Disruptor drop. Well, he's got balls and he's got balls, I guess is what we have here. There's a small chance of Colossus, but I doubt that. I mean, let's see how it goes. I don't know. Queens are kind of a counter to an extent. But at the same time, like, they're obviously, yeah, it's Speed Prism Ruptor Drop. Zest. This is his game 5 build. Typical. That's not the right one, Jimmy. That's for completely other things. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Like, what do? I'm just gonna sit here and wait for the disruptor drop to happen, and then I'm gonna commentate like, oh, probably. But if Zest is lucky, I'll be like, oh, wow. Like, and those are my options right now. He gets the double trouble. He can kill queens with 2 strong taps. And there are 6 gates behind this, because Zest is not a huge fan of taking a third here. So, let's see how this goes. Yeah, Solar sees it. Like, what are you going to do with this? He fires a shot, point blank. Okay, well. Unfortunately, the same things that deal with Stargate also deal with disruptor drops pretty easily. And that's, yeah, he does, they're not off cooldown. Oh wait, okay, I mean that was okay. Thing is, Solar has 60 drones, so even if he loses his lings, it's not really, yeah, it's not going great. Colossi on the way, as well as the 6 gates finishing. So there's the follow-up attack. This is the big one now. The Zealot, not the Zealot, the Zergling is going to scout the army. Ravager is being built. Disruptor finds a connection. Gets 4 drones. which is like that's an impact right there. The War Prism is also an important part of this push. It's going to come down to the force fields. Because right now, the Queens, Roaches, Ravagers, and Lings are more than enough to deal with this without force field to protect. The Ravagers can knock them down, but it does take a little time. Fires off a shot. And one good disruptor shot on the right units. Get some damage on those Queens. Where's he warping in? Zest is warping in the main, which is an interesting... He's not even trying for a third. The natural. This feels like... Oh, no, no, no! Well, that is not exactly how he was hoping those force fields would go, I don't think. But the Colossus just kind of tramples over him. Alright, disruptor drops are continuing to have a distracting effect, if nothing else. But Solar is still sitting on more than enough economy. I don't know if this gets better for Zest as time goes on. He's supply blocked right now, adding 4 more pylons. If he needs to get some chunky hits here, and he's just not been getting it. Oh my god. He fires the shots. The gamble! Ah! A big hit! That disrupt. Get out! Get out! Great Zergling counterattack. Forces a warping, but that hit might have been the critical mass. He has to go either way. He has to hope it was. The force field, starting things off. Corrosive Bile actually kind of misses the mark a bit. The Zerglings are killing... They forced the probes to reposition. They bought any amount of time. Zest does have that disruptor still. That disruptor could turn the tide. There are 3 immortals underneath. Those are the real heroes here. The Colossus is just for the Zerglings, which don't even really exist. That one disruptor is everything. Fires the shot. North side. Forces back. Force field. Immortal #1 gonna go down. Force fields are gone. The Roach Ravager closing in. The Queen still helping out. Picks up the Ruptor. Dips it back. The Ghetto Blink. Immortals pushing through. Zest has recovered at home. Solar has lost his critical mass. And Zest, he held on to the attack for so long. He found an angle. And it looks like, even though his disruptor is targeted, he breaks through. And Zest finishes it like he started, with a solid ground army. The bookends of this SkyToss series. And that is the awkward part. Like, I think Solar was caught a little off guard. Like, Solar hasn't fought against that sort of build that much. It looked like there was enough Roach Ravager Ling. The thing is, one disruptor lands. Well, disruptors rarely land in a way that turns the tide. But today, the ocean is in favor of Zest and sweeps Solar away. And that's how it ends. Well, quite a series. Zest coming out on top 3-2. Thank you to AlphaX and Into the Clan. Thank you for watching and checking out these amazing, mediocre videos. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. Prime Gaming. So much more. Leave a comment. What do you think? Does Protoss have any units that are fair? Thank you for watching. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.